Years passed, and then he came a young swordsman just like I once was. His blade was even stronger than mine, and I knew instantly that he had already lost himself to it. When he struck, the sky itself seemed to break. I fought back with everything I had, but in that instant I understood, couldn't stop it, even if I gave everything. It would only end in both of us dying. And I was a swordsman, and for most of my life I wanted only one thing to become the greatest. To do that, I had to defeat the man known as Wuming, the finest swordsman of our time. But he had vanished years ago, and no one knew where to find him. The only chance was a tournament held once every 12 years, where only the victor earned the right to face him. So I gave up everything, family, comfort, a life beyond the blade, and devoted myself entirely to the sword, year after year, until one day I felt I had reached the end of the path. With no one left, who could challenge me? 12 years later, at the tournament, no one lasted more than 3 strikes against me. I won. And with that victory, I was given directions to a rooming live. It was a place untouched by the world, silent and still, and there I found him, an old man, sitting on the ground like any ordinary villager with no present. No sharpness, nothing that resembled a legend. For a moment I thought the real Wuming had died long ago. He looked at me and said, "You're the first to make it here in 36 years. I asked, "What about the others?" He replied, "They came, but some died from their wounds. Others lost the will to continue." I told him, "As long as you're alive, I am not the greatest." He sighed and said, "Then you already are? You could go back." I frowned. He answered, "Because Wuming is already dead." I tightened my grip and asked then, "Who are you?" He said, "Just someone who stayed behind." I almost believed him until I saw his hands, were the hands of a swordsman. "You're lying." I said, "You are Wuming." Oh. He studied me for a long moment and smiled. "You're sharp, but I'm old now. No match for you." I laughed, afraid to die for an instant. Something flashed in his eyes, sharp enough to shake me, but it vanished just as quickly. "You're right," he said quietly. "I am afraid. Go back." I concede. I shook my head. I've spent my life for this moment. If we don't fight, this title means nothing. He fell silent and murmured, "Why are we the same? I didn't understand, and I didn't care. Draw your sword." He smiled faintly. "I lost it long ago." I said coldly, "Then you'll die." He replied, "Then I'll die." So I struck the moment. My blade moved. The world fell silent. Wind stopped. The leaves froze. Even time seemed to hesitate. This was a strike that could not be taken back. Not even by me, and for a second I felt it slip beyond my control, as if the sword itself had chosen its path. He raised his hand as if to catch it, but it passed through him effortlessly. Snow began to fall white at first, then red. I had won, and yet I felt nothing. After that, my name spread across the land, and I became the greatest, but no one could truly challenge me, and slowly I grew tired, so I waited for someone strong enough to kill me. Years passed, and then he came a young swordsman just like I once was. His blade was even stronger than mine, and I knew instantly that he had already lost himself to it. When he struck, the sky itself seemed to break. I fought back with everything I had, but in that instant I understood, couldn't stop it, even if I gave everything. It would only end in both of us dying, and suddenly I remembered everything I had abandoned at it. Years I threw away, the people I left behind. For the first time, I understood that I had gained nothing. So I lowered my sword and opened my arms, letting his blade pass through me. Darkness followed. Wake up, I opened my eyes and saw Wuming sitting in front of me, a sword lying on the ground beside him. "You had a long dream," he said. I stood up, bowed, and turned to leave. "You don't want the title anymore?" he asked. No, I said. "At least take your sword." I paused and answered quietly, "Thank you for helping me." "Let it go." He smiled. "Congratulations. You are the greatest." I shook my head and walked forward toward her. And for the first time in my life, I felt free.
Hid treasures.